Rose, our last episode talked about investing. We talked about UTMA and a bunch of other investing themes. So, just as a follow up, we want to talk about the 101 right, of saving and becoming rich. Okay. And we're going to do that through this book called The Richest Man in Babylon. The Richest Man in Babylon is a book by George S. Clason. It's a classic personal finance book told through short parables set in ancient Babylon. Okay? And its main message is simple: wealth is built through discipline, saving, investing wisely, and controlling your desires. The book is written in a little bit of a Shakespearean language, but I'm sure you can get through that if you guys end up reading it. Otherwise, we'll just walk you through and explain the basics. Okay, so the book teaches you that you should pay yourself first by saving at least 10% of everything that you earn. Then you should make that money work for you through smart investments. Wealth does not come from high income alone. Okay, it comes from keeping part of what you earn and growing it over time. So that's the important part. Is you have to learn to keep a part of what you make. Right? Otherwise, how are you going to save? How are you going to invest? So that's the key lesson. Okay. And talking about key lessons, let's break it down. There's 7 main formulas in the book that you want to understand. Okay. Number 1 is save at least 10% of your income. Okay. Before paying others, keep a portion of it to yourself. Number 2, control your expenses. Do not confuse wants with needs. Number 3, invest your savings very wisely. Money should generate money. Number 4, avoid risky schemes. Only invest in things that you understand. Number 5, seek advice from experts. Learn from people who are successful in the area you want to grow. Number 6, increase your ability to learn. Keep improving your skills and values. Number 7, protect your wealth. Do not lose money through poor decisions or greed. The biggest takeaway is that becoming wealthy is not about good luck or luck in general. It's about building habits. If you consistently save, spend wisely, invest carefully, and grow your earning power, financial security becomes possible over time. Okay, so it's right there, right in the reach of your hands. So the richest man in Babylon reminds us that money obeys rules, very simple rules. Those who respect those rules build wealth, and those who ignore them stay trapped in the struggle.
I agree with you, man. So these principles that you just talk about, save first, live below your means, invest wisely, keep learning, be patient, different era, different tools, but same rules. So
Correct. Yes, it's one of the most timeless books on money, you can say.
yeah,
Right. So even though it was written nearly 100 years ago
yeah,
and set in ancient Babylon, the lessons still apply to modern life.
yeah.
Whether you're earning $50,000 a year or building a multi-million dollar business, right? The core message is very simple. Wealth is not created by how much you make, it's created by what you keep and how you use it and the habits you build around money.
Yeah. Bro, let me dive in a little bit and let me ask you a question. Um, so the society that we grew up in, we were brought up in Nepal. It was a very money conscious society as well. Why do you think they are not they are still are not able to generate that amount of wealth, even though they are so conscious about money?
So one of the things is, I guess it's rule number what? Rule number 3. Okay. So yeah, people save most probably, right? You save for generations, but are they investing correctly? Right? That's one of the things. So most of the investment in Nepal happens on land. There isn't much. You cannot take the money out. You cannot So it happens in land, it's in businesses, and I guess it's seeking other people's expert advice that people don't do. Maybe the other one is risky schemes. I think in Nepal everybody wants to make money very fast, right? That's why you get stuck in scams, stuck in uh sarcastic issues, right? All of that kind of stuff. Where you give me some money and then tomorrow you'll be a billionaire or a millionaire. So stuff like that. So you wanna get away from those risky schemes.
And there was this thing, I don't know if you remember this, it's called Dukuti. I don't even know how it works, but it's very similar to what you just said.
I mean, the first lesson of the book is to keep a part of what you earn. Right? It's not about, hey man, take your money and give it to others. Right? I mean, once you learn how to invest, once you become good, then yeah, definitely you can go and try different stuff. But the first thing you need to learn is you need to keep a part of what you make. Right? That means before you're paying your bills, before paying rent, before buying anything, you need to save at least 10%. Now, if you ask me for a real life example, right? Imagine that someone is earning $6,000 a month. So instead of spending first and saving whatever is left, which is usually what most people do, right? They automatically move 600 into savings account or investing the day that they get paid. So that's what you want to do. So over 10 years, right, $600, which might seem nothing, invested every month, right, at a modest return, can grow into over $100,000.
Of course, obviously.
Okay. So it's the habit that matters the most. Okay, even $50, $100 consistently builds wealth. And that's what you have to understand. It's not about how much money you make, but it's about the habit. That is what you need to build. And it's going to take you some time.
Okay, so a person makes $6,000 per year, I mean, per month, and that person, after taxes, and that person has a big obligation to pay a lot of debt. So should that person focus on paying that debt first and then paying himself or herself first? How does this work?
Yeah. So we go into rule number two. Rule number two is control your expenses. Okay. Rule number one, we've talked about it. You save 10% of whatever you make, you put it aside, and then forget about it. Right. Put it into some investment fund, forget about it. You cannot use that money. Okay. Number two is you control your expenses. So more money doesn't automatically solve problems, right? Lifestyle expands with income if you let it. So learn from the difference between wants and necessities. A real life example, right? Someone gets a raise from $90,000 to $120,000. Okay. So now instead of investing the extra income, they upgrade. Right? You get a bigger house, luxury car payment, premium subscriptions, expensive vacations. So at the end of the year, you're still broke.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got nothing. That's what happens to all the folks that who win lottery tickets and stuff. Like all of a sudden you're a millionaire and you just go around spending all your money and then you become bankrupt.
Yeah, you become bankrupt instead of using wisely putting it in some sort of fund that will pay you for rest of the life instead of focusing on that kind of thing.
Correct.
They focus on something that doesn't matter, something like buying a new car or buying a overwhelmingly expensive real estate.
Correct. Meanwhile, someone who's earning less, right, but living below their means, builds investment month by month. So high income does not equal to wealth. Okay. That's the lesson that you need to learn is higher income doesn't equal to wealth. No matter how much you make, if you're not saving, right, if you're not living below your means, then you're still broke. Okay, what really creates wealth is margin. Margin creates wealth. So you need to learn to live below your means. That's lesson number two.
So you didn't answer my question. So what should that person focus on? Should that person focus on clearing off his or her debt, or should that person focus on saving, or both? I'm not talking about after that, right? Say that person did not know about the richest man in Babylon, but now that person knows about it. So what should be the priority? So that person focus on paying.
The priority is again, right? Number one, save 10%.
Okay, that's
No matter what.
no matter what.
Okay.
Okay.
Even if you like file for bankruptcy, you can still do that because you still need your means. The government's not gonna just take everything from you. Okay. Nobody needs to know. So first rule is you have to
Save 10
learn
no matter
live 10%, right? Whatever is remaining, you need to live below that.
Yeah.
Right? Let's say you only earn $6,000, then $600 you put it as an investment and you don't touch that money. Right. And I will come later onto what happens if you do, right? And how to use that money. So 6,000, 600. After that, whatever's left, you still don't touch it, right? You need to live below your means. So you don't go ahead and just spend that remaining, $5,400, right? What you need to do next is, so once you save your money, right, you learn to live below your means, right? You should be able to live at, let's say, $4,000, right? Because it's the same. You live at $4,000, you live like $40,000. The only thing is, the house is getting more expensive. The food is getting a little more expensive. But, it's not like, you become a millionaire and you eat $1 million burger. Right? The burger's still going to be the maximum $100 burger.
Yeah, you become a millionaire and you end up buying like Lamborghini.
Yeah, you just go ahead and spend that money. So next thing you learn is you learn to live below your means. Okay. And then once you do that, then number 3 is you make money work for you. So the saved money shouldn't just sit idle forever. Right? Money needs to earn more money.
Yeah.
Your money makes more money for you, and that is called compounding. It's a beautiful thing, compounding.
Yep.
That you need to learn about, right? Real life example.
Yeah.
You put $500 a month into index fund, like the S&P 500, for 25 years, right? You contribute around $150,000.
Yeah.
But you end up with $400,000 to $600,000 plus, depending on the returns.
Yeah.
Right? Your dollar becomes the workers now. So you make your money work for you.
Obviously.
So then those workers hire more workers. And that's how you see it. Your money works for you. Those workers hire more workers and make more money for you. So eventually your money starts generating income without any labor. Right. Then you can just sit and then the money's going to be making more money for you. Okay.
Okay.
Then you're going to think, oh, blah, blah, blah. What about bad investments? Okay. So next thing, number 4, is you need to avoid bad investments. So that's one of the book's strongest beliefs. Right? And how do you do that? Like we talked earlier about Nepal, right? You stop chasing fast money.
Oh
Yeah.
man, oh man, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you about this incident that happened to me recently.
There's one more thing, right? And you asked about taxes, about all that stuff. Right? Don't let all that stuff, the decisioning, right? That will come to next. But first thing is, you avoid making bad.
You avoid getting scammed, man. That is the first thing. That is the thing. I got scammed for over 10,000.
Sure, yeah. Let's shorten it down, right? Why did you get scammed?
There's this saying in Nepalese. I don't know how to translate in English. When you think that you know too much, well, it's about this monkey and his testicles. So you know that saying, right? So when a monkey thinks he knows it all, he dies by mm, it's something like that. So I don't precisely remember what that says, but I I was under the impression that I knew it all, and I was under the impression that nobody can scam me because I know it all. So they ended up scamming me. I lost around $11,000 to $12,000, and there was nothing I can do. There was nothing I could do since it was in crypto.
Mhm.
I went to the police. The police is like, "Hey man, there's nothing we can do." I told them, "At least write a report, please." So they wrote a report. So I'm going to use that as a tax loss for my tax filing for this year. So what I'm saying is this is very very that that sort of a fake confidence in your ability is something that gets um, mm, mm, that gets you in trouble, or even that gets you destroyed. But I got in trouble for that.
Yeah.
My other
So you
question,
made a bad
my
investment,
other
right?
question.
You made a bad investment. Usually, whenever you make a bad investment, it's because you're chasing after fast money, or you know.
I had Dogecoin. I had Dogecoin. I had Dogecoin since before.
Sure. Then why did you get scammed?
This guy, he pretended to be from crypto.com.
Okay.
He called me from crypto.com's number. He sent me emails from crypto.com. He even had access to my app. There was no way for me to suspect that he was a
Okay.
scammer.
And how is this a bad investment?
It was not a bad investment. It was a, I mean, okay, it was not a bad investment. It was a good investment, but I lost the money.
Okay, that we'll talk about in the next chapter, right? The next chapter is seek advice from people that you know. Okay, you need to learn that you do not just go and buy stuff. You do not go buy gold, right? You do not go buy gold at a butcher shop. I'm saying you go and buy meat at the butcher shop. And how do you know that? By knowledge.
Yeah.
So let's come back to making bad investment. Okay, what is a bad investment? A bad investment is, like I said, you go and buy gold from a butcher shop.
Yeah.
Okay, and why do people do that? Because you're chasing after fast money. Okay, number one thing, the number 4 rule: avoid bad investment. What the book says is don't chase bad money. Right, wealth goes steadily, not overnight. So you cannot just go and then make money like in the stock market. You can't time it, all that stuff, right? So wealth goes steadily. That's what you have to remember. The real life example: think of someone who hears about hot crypto, right? Oh, there's crypto, you can make money overnight. No, investment money that can't afford to lose. That's the thing. Is like, people are always gonna, just like a scam, right? People are gonna try and get to your head and make it sound urgent. Anything that's urgent, you wait. You take a step back, you think about it. Think about it, if it's a bad investor or not. And then, use your logic. When you use your head, if you're not comfortable, talk to a few people that you can confide in. You know, you always ask before you make a big investment. Talk to 4 or 5 people, and I'm sure they're going to give you some advice. You don't have to follow everything, but you can make a judgment based on that conversation.
Yeah.
Right. Next thing is, you don't buy because everyone else is buying. You don't follow the herd. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about real life examples. There's, with the thing, oh, somebody gives you a hot tip, somebody says, oh, you have to jump in and invest right now. Otherwise, you can't afford to lose the money. Someone, everybody else is buying, you just like jump in and buy stuff. Then what happens? The asset crashes 70%.
Yeah.
Right? Compare that to someone who slowly invest, retirement accounts, diversified funds, real estate that they understand, right? Business, they research,
Yeah.
right? So excitement often costs money.
So one question. So do you think?
Patience earns and wins.
Let me ask you a
Okay.
question. Let me ask you a question. Do you think Mark Zuckerberg understood the Facebook business before getting into before like designing Facebook?
What do you think?
I think he did, or maybe he didn't.
Did Mark Zuckerberg become a millionaire overnight?
He became a billionaire overnight.
No, he did not become a billionaire overnight. How many years did he have Facebook running before he actually got investments? Before he actually started, getting the ads and all that stuff, before the IPO went public?
2 3 years.
10 years?
More than that. It's not 10 years. It's very less than that.
Okay. And what did you do for the 2, 3 years? Did you just, make a lot of money?
He did not.
Did he know that he was going to win?
Yeah.
No, he did not. What he needed was he just went steady, right? It's not a bad investment. You're putting in all your effort and money. Of course, you don't know if it's going to win or not, man. Nothing is in your control. But over time, if you put your time and effort, then you'll definitely come out and win.
What about Elon Musk when he got into Tesla? At Tesla, he did not innovate Tesla. He got into Tesla as a board of directors. I think probably in 2003 and 2004. And then he eventually got promoted to CEO. And when he was CEO, the business skyrocketed. But my question is, did he understand that business? Because Tesla is not a car company, even though it is marketed as a car company. Look at its volume, volume of cars being produced every year. It's exponentially less than that of Toyota or Honda or vehicle, uh, any big vehicle company. So what I'm trying to say is, Elon Musk says Tesla is not a car company; it is an engineering company. But at first, he went there. He went inside a company that was not making any profit, and he built it to $1 trillion, more than $1 trillion company, and that is like the most expensive car company in the world, even though it only makes around 300,000 or 400,000 cars per year. It is 10 or 15 times more profitable or more valuable than Toyota. So, do you think he understood this business before he got in?
Sure. Now let's analyze. Right? You heard all the rules. So which rule is he following right now?
You tell me which rule is he following.
Is he avoiding bad investment? So when you look at Tesla, right, what do you think he did? You think he just thought, oh, tomorrow I'm going to make $1 billion with Tesla, and he just jumped in, bought the Tesla shares, and then sold it the next day?
No, but it was a. My question is, so like,
So you asked me the question about Tesla, right?
yeah,
So tell me,
wasn't risky for him? Wasn't that
sure, but tell me the history of Tesla, right? How long did Tesla take? How did Tesla start?
there were 3 or 4 people other than Elon Musk who started the company, and Elon Musk came in the company around 2003 and 2004 as a board of directors, and probably around 2005 or 2006 he was elected as the CEO.
When did the Tesla Roadster come out?
When, like, around 2012, 2013.
I don't know. Why don't you Google it?
When was the Tesla's first? 1 second, let me just Google this thing. So continue about your
No, let's
first
look at it.
Tesla come out. Okay, the first Tesla came out in 2008. It was called Tesla Roadster.
Okay, and what happened? So when did the company start? When did Elon Musk get in? And when did the first car come out? Where's it? First car.
It came out in 2006. The first production car came out in 2008. When did
Okay, and was it a
Elon
success?
Musk?
Was it a success?
No, because from 2008 to 2012, they only sold 2,500 units of car.
Okay, but you just said that it was a success.
Well, I did not say it was a success. I said like a car company, a big car company selling only 2,500 cars between 2008 and 2012, around in the span of 4 years, is not a success.
Right. So how long did it take till Tesla IPO went up? How long till it actually started money? How long till
So Elon Musk became CEO
also?
at October 2008. He joined Tesla as of in 2004,
Okay, and when did the Roadster come out? When did the first car come out?
2006.
How much money did he put in?
He put in $7.5 million, or he put in around $13 million.
Was that all of his investment from PayPal?
Yeah. It
And
was
Elon
more of his investment from PayPal because he also invested a significant amount of his money at SpaceX.
SpaceX was later.
No, SpaceX was earlier. When did Elon Musk start SpaceX? 2002. He started SpaceX in 2002.
Okay, was SpaceX successful?
It was not in the beginning.
When was the first time it actually landed a rocket?
Which launched the
Maybe 5, 6 years ago.
no, the first failure was in 2006. The second one was also failed. Uh, it was in 2007.
Correct.
First successful launch was on 2008. So he failed for around 6 years.
No, not a landing, the launch.
I'm talking about launch.
Correct, but it still couldn't land, right? We used the rocket, yeah.
Yeah, the first success we actually was in 2008. Before, there were 3 attempts to launch and all of them failed. But in 2008, they successfully launched Falcon 1. So, yes, what I'm saying is this was a new venture and he knew about the risk, right?
Did he? And how did you think you knew about the risk?
I mean, I'm asking, this is a question. Did he know about the risk?
No, if you ask me the question, right, my expertise right now is on the book and how to invest. Your expertise is on Tesla, right? You're asking me a question about Tesla, so I'm assuming you know.
I'm trying to relate this concept to the book.
Okay, so you tell me, how is it even related in the first?
Because it generated him a lot of wealth.
Okay, so do you think he already knew how to invest before he started this thing? Did he have a lot of money in savings in investments, or he just came in as a nobody and then took over the company?
He was a perceived expert because he made a lot of money from PayPal, around $150 million.
Right. So he's already an expert, right? We're talking about if you're not an expert, if you're new. Okay. So first thing is you need to follow all these rules and learn how to save your money, learn how to invest it right, gain knowledge, learn how to use your common sense and your brain to make investments and not, fall prey and avoid bad investments by, getting excited about scammers, pyramid schemes, all that stuff. Then once you have the right mentality and the right knowledge from your experience, you got to fail a few times, right? So in the book, the guy goes and then he saves money. He saves like a good amount of money, and then he gives his money to a shepherd. Right? He gives the money to a shepherd and says, "Hey, go buy me some jewels, or go buy me some jewels," because he thinks it's an investment. Because the shepherd is talking about, oh, how people made money with jewels and all that stuff. So he gives the money to the shepherd, and the shepherd brings back a bunch of plastic and glass, right, which is worthless. So he loses all his money.
Okay.
So yeah, you have to learn, man. You don't learn until you fail a few times.
Yep. So I think this sort of education is very important for everybody, bro. Especially if coming from the type of society that we came from, where the value of money is misunderstood And what I'm understanding now is that we have missed the basics. And this is pretty simple, what you just said, right?
Uh, okay. So we're talking about bad investments, right? So real life example, if you chase money fast, right, then you end up losing money compared to somebody who's doing retirement accounts, diversified funds, real estate they understand, or business they research. Right. So excitement is often costly. So you have to be very cautious about excitement. Right. Patience usually earns it. So yeah, excitement is going to be risky. And excitement is not only during avoiding bad investments, it could also mean, let's say that you get a letter from IRS, or you get a letter saying, oh, this is very, I need you to look at this, blah, blah, blah. So, understand how scams work, all that stuff. And then you avoid bad investments. Sometimes, no matter how cautious you are, you might still fail, but that should be your lessons learned. Right? You learn from your mistakes and then you move forward in life. Now, rule number 5, seek advice from people who know. So the book teaches, ask the baker about bread, ask the investor about investing, ask the mechanic about engines. Right? Not everybody's advice is equal. If your car is broken, you don't go to the barber shop and ask the barber about what's wrong with your car. Right? If you want to learn how to make bread, you don't go and ask a mechanic about it. If you're investing, you don't go and talk to the barber shop about investing. You go to the right folks, right? So you have to, be aware of that. Have that in your back. Think about number first, avoid bad investments. Then you think, seek advice from people who know. Real life example. Before buying rental property, bad advice. My cousin said it's a great deal. Now you just hear somebody say something, you jump in. Better advice, talk to a real estate investor. Run the numbers. Understand the cash flow. Understand taxes and maintenance costs. Same with career, investing, and business. Right? I was talking to somebody the other day that decided to invest, about $200,000 in house flipping. And he was ready. He was working with a realtor, very good realtors about house flipping. He was about to give them the money, but they took about 20% and then gave 80% to the investors. That seemed like a high margin for him. So he was in a party. He was talking to somebody, just some random person. And then this guy said, oh, you know what? I do house flipping, but I am a computer engineer. Hey, and this guy asked, so how much do you take? And he said, oh, I only take 3% and I share the 97% with the investors. So he on the spot wrote him a $200,000 check. And guess what? He didn't get his money back. Man. It took him like 5 years to get the money back. So he wasn't able to sell the house, number one. Number two, they rented the house. I mean, he got the money back at the end of 5 years, but he lost 5 years worth of investment, and that's a loss of time. That's a loss of money. If you just put that with the realtor, yeah, he would have become a millionaire, right? The realtor, yeah, made a lot of money in those 5 years. The critical time. Sometimes it's also like your critical time. Right? If you invested right after the housing crisis, you must have made a lot of money. Versus, if you invested towards the end of the pandemic, because the houses prices was very high, interest rates were high. So, if you're not getting in on the right timing, then also that's a loss. You're screwed. Okay. Number 6, the next thing. So once you learn all of that stuff, right? Next thing you learn is you increase your ability to earn. Okay. Your greatest asset isn't your savings account. It's your earning power. The more valuable your skills become, the more opportunities you create. Real life example. Someone spends $200,000 on a certification, right? Or learns AI coding, project management, leadership, data analysis. That skill helps them move from 90K to 130K to 170K over time. the return is massive compared to the upfront cost. Right? If you're thinking, oh, it's $2,000, I don't want to do it. I'm just going to put it in the bank. Yeah, you're not polishing a skill that you need to learn. You need to be more knowledgeable. So if we talk, if you're talking about Elon Musk earlier, then it's about investing in yourself, figuring out how you can be smarter, how your skills are increased, so you're able to make more money. Right? Investing in yourself often produces the highest ROI. So that's the number one investment: is you invest in yourself. Okay?
Yeah.
Number 6 was invest in yourself. Number 7, this may be the biggest lesson of the entire book. Wealth usually looks boring while it's being built. It's saving regularly, investing monthly, avoiding unnecessary debt, staying patient, repeating the process for years. Real life example: 2 friends start at 30. Friend A invests $500 every month. Friend B waits for the perfect time to invest. 10 to 20 years later, the consistent investor often ends up far more, right? And far ahead, even if the salary wasn't high. Like you'd be making $1,000, but if you're saving $200 every month versus somebody who makes $100,000 and doesn't save anything. Right? At the end of 20 years, the person making a lot less, significantly less money, is going to win you and become much richer. Right? So, if you had to boil the richest man in Babylon into one sentence, it would be: keep a portion of what you earn, spend less than what you make, invest wisely, be patient, and repeat this long time. Right? The principles are ancient, but the truth is modern. Money doesn't stay with the person who earns the most. It stays with the person who understands how to keep it, grow it, and protect it. It stays with somebody who understands money. Right? Wealth is not a mystery reserved for the lucky. It's a skill built through habits, one paycheck, one decision, and one discipline choices at a time.
Mhm. So let me go to Warren Buffett. Okay. So let me first ask one question about Warren Buffett. So Warren Buffett, he started investing at age 11, right? So what
Yeah.
would happen if most people started investing 10 to 20 years earlier?
Yeah. So, Buffet, I think, is a great example of the book. The first thing that you learn, a Warren Buffett example, is Buffett started investing at 11 years old. He bought shares instead of spending all his money on things that kids usually want, like video games, comics, whatever, that kids want, toys. But this guy didn't spend on toys. He spent it very wisely, right? He invested. He bought vending machines. By his teens, he was delivering newspapers, running side hustles, investing profits back into market. He paid himself first long before he became wealthy. Right? He didn't just wait to be rich to start saving, right? So he was saving from very early. He was investing from very early. And I'm sure he made a lot of mistakes on the road, right? So I don't think that he just became the oracle overnight.
Yeah.
Think about all the things that he must have done: delivering newspapers, running side hustles, vending machines, before he started investing in Wrigley's chewing gum and cherry coke. Right?
So, I think what we can learn from Warren Buffett is this concept of a delayed gratification.
Yeah. The other thing is to control your expenses. Right? That comes number 2, right? Align with the book. So even after becoming a billionaire, right, Buffett still lives in his Omaha house, which he bought in 1958. Right? So you got to live below your means.
Yeah.
Right? He could own dozens and dozens and dozens of great mansions, but he doesn't feel the need. Right? He's okay with what he has, and he's learned to live below the means of what he's actually able to spend. And that is how you become rich. right? That's the classic Babylonian thinking. Just because you can spend doesn't mean you should.
Okay, so let me ask this question. It's about this other guy, Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
So he's not like he's not eccentric as Elon Musk. So he left a secure job to build Amazon, right? So
Yeah.
when does taking a financial risk become smart versus reckless?
So Bezos is also in the same page, right? He's also another good example of this book. So Bezos, before Amazon became huge, before Amazon became huge,
Uh-huh.
Bezos left a stable Wall Street job and invested much of his own savings into building the company. Right? He reinvested in himself with the vision before taking care of comfort. Right? Then again, in Amazon's early days, Bezos was famously frugal, right? Living below his means. First is you're saving your 10%. Right. So I'm sure he learned how to save. He put his savings before starting his own company. Then he was like very frugal. He learned to live below his means. Right? In Amazon's early days. So the story goes that Amazon employees made desks out of wooden doors, right? Old wooden doors, because it was cheaper than buying office desk. The culture of conserving cash helped Amazon survive for this long. And even today, I mean, they still make desks out of doors, and
Oh wow.
so it's called a door meeting or whatever they call it.
Yeah. So door desk.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
door desk.
I have one question for you. So if money could become an employee working 24/7, how would most people change their spending habits?
So we're looking at Buffett and Bezos,
Yeah.
right? So let's give the Warren Buffett example of making your money work for you. Buffett is the clearest real-world example of this lesson. His wealth largely came from compound growth. Right? It took him years before he became what he was. That he invested in a business that kept earning money, and the money kept earning money, you know, and those earnings were reinvested, and he gained the compounds. Right? His money became an employee that worked 24/7 for him. Okay. Now, if you look at Jeff Bezos, Bezos took profits from Amazon and kept investing it back into warehouses, logistics, technology, cloud computing. Amazon wasn't really making money. It was all being reinvested, right? That eventually led to Amazon Web Services, which became one of Amazon's biggest profit engines. It's the money funding systems, right? Which create more money. Exactly what the book teaches. That's yeah. And then I think he got divorced. That's when he started spending it.
Yeah. After he got divorced, after he, uh, I think, yeah, what was the name of that girl?
Yeah.
Laura or some, I forgot her name. Laureen or Laura. He divorced Mackenzie, right? Mackenzie.
Use Scott.
Yeah, Mackenzie.
That's pretty good. Yeah. But anyways, I don't know if the next chapter is what next thing we talk about is avoid risky schemes.
Yeah.
I don't know if marriage is a risky scheme, but we'll save that for another day.
Yeah. So, Kindle Prime and AWS and Amazon was that web service.
Yeah.
They looked risky initially. So, how do you distinguish calculated conviction from blind optimism?
So that comes to, like we said earlier, right? You avoid the risky ones. And how do you avoid is by knowledge, right? You have your personal knowledge. You hear stuff from people, but what you hear might not be the truth, right? You read up on stuff that might be a little better. You find experts, talk to them, and that might be even better, right? So yeah, you need to have experts from others to help you out. So in Amazon's case, Bezos takes risk, but very calculated ones. Right? He bet big only after deep convention. He just didn't go ahead and overnight buy Kindle, buy Prime, buy AWS. He was very, very calculated, and it was also based on his experience. Right? He did Amazon Books. Right? It's an online book company, and he just kind of built up on it, and whatever was needed, he just built it in house, and that it got to where it was now. Right? Many most probably even looked risky at the time, but they were backed by long-term strategy and hype. I mean, sorry, long-term strategy, not hype. Right? If you look at Buffett, Buffett's famous rule, number one rule from Buffett is never lose money. Number two rule from Buffett is never forget rule number one.
Yeah.
Right? So what he does is he avoids investments that he does not understand. For years, he has stayed away from tech business. Why? Because he felt that he was outside of his circle of competence. And he would rather miss opportunity than lose money on something that is not clear. Right? Before he invested in Apple.
Yeah. And this is something that I like. I'm learning from the conversation. Successful people spend more time learning than consuming entertainment.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah, correct. Yes, and also like earlier, right? The one thing that you mentioned was how do you avoid risk? And yeah, one is learning. Two is you seek advice from experts that we talked about. Right? And Warren Buffett's example, Buffett credits most of his thinking to Benjamin Graham, right, who was the author of The Intellectual Investor. I don't know if you read that book.
An investor.
Right, intelligent investor. Sorry. Yeah, he studied under Graham and used that same framework for decades. And then it just didn't happen overnight. He used it for like 10 plus years, multiple years, before he learned from the master and before he became the master himself. Right? Bezos is very similar too. So Bezos is known for surrounding himself with smart operators, engineers, builders, that he built teams that knew things that he did not know. Right? Where he lacks his blind spot, he has experts, not just somebody like, from the market, right? Not some butcher who's like cutting meat on the side. He doesn't go to the barber shop and say, hey man, I'm going to buy Kindle. What do you think? No, he has experts. Right? He has a team. So the reminder here is you don't need all the answers yourself. You need access to good thinking. So that's what you need before moving forward.
Yeah. That is so true, man.
And your question might be what next, right? What once you have the ability to earn,
Mhm.
then what next? How do you increase your ability? Right. Now, if you take a Warren Buffett example, Buffett is that the best earlier that we talked about is investing in yourself. And investing is also learning from your mistakes, right? Mistakes are also investment, man. You look at Steve Jobs and he says, oh, it's only later down the road that when you look back in time, you connect the dots and you right? I mean, all of the stuff makes you who you are. So yeah, take calculated risks early and then learn from it to become who you are. And that is also an ability, right? The ability to earn, you have to increase it. So Warren Buffett, like I said, invested a lot in himself. He spent huge amounts of time on reading. This guy reads like 5 to 6 hours a day. Right? He reads annual reports, business history, financial statements. Knowledge has become an advantage. Same with Bezos, right? Bezos continually expanded his capabilities. Software, operations, logistics, retail, media, cloud infrastructure, space exploration. Now he's doing his Blue Origin.
Blue Origin, yeah.
So this guy is keeping on learning and he's finding ways, right? Projects that inspire, more learning, more vision.
Uh-huh.
Right? Why space? Because now it's you need like much more crazier technology. Right? You need a lot more thinking, more far fetched. You're expanding your horizons. Or, yeah, keep on learning beyond one industry. So that is for Bezos, that increased his earning power and his opportunity to surface.
Yep.
Right. And yeah, you have a vision. Now the next thing is it takes time. Right. Wealth takes time. So you need patience. First, you avoid risky stuff, right? You don't just go for scams, for emergency investments, all that stuff. Oh, all that stuff takes time. But before that, you need to invest in yourself, learn, right? You need to surround yourself with good people, experts. And then once you start investing, you make money, then it takes time, right? Warren Buffett's example, one of the wildest facts about Buffett, most of his net worth came after age 50. You know that?
Yeah.
Right. And then enormous amount came after he was 60
Yeah.
because compounding just excels, right? It accelerates later.
Yeah. He lives in Omaha, you know, in an old house. He drinks Diet Coke and he eats a very cheap burger from McDonald's.
Yeah. Think about it, right? He started when he was 11 and he got his like real pay when he was 50, man, like 40 plus years on the road. And the entire time he had a steady schedule, right? Same house, same car, same cherry coke, same chewing gum was probably Wrigley's.
Yeah.
And then reading his newspaper, he just has the same schedule every day.
Uh-huh.
Right. So the lesson here is that fortune, his big fortune wasn't overnight. Right. It was decades of consistency.
Yep.
Right. And if you take at Bezos, right, Amazon also went years with tiny profits while Wall Street questioned the strategy. Bezos, he stayed patient, he focused on the long term, while others focused on quarter results. That patience turned Amazon into the largest company in history.
Yep.
Right.
I use Amazon every day for everything, man. Like TV.
Yeah, man. They have all kinds of things. They have videos. They have cloud services, books, audio, all the shipping, man, logistics, man. Amazon ships things faster than UPS.
Yep.
Tomorrow you get whatever you want. This guy is like, raise your hopes high.
Yeah. So this is something that I'm very
Yeah.
I'm very proud of, to be honest with you. Like, to experience to be in a to experience services from Amazon and to see it grow. Do you remember around 2004, 2003, that time when Amazon only sold books?
Mm-hmm.
Look where the company is now.
Right. Who would have thought, right?
Who would have thought, So what I'm understanding is, technology, even though it gives an impression that it has changed wealth building, but the fundamental, the tools are the same, the principles are the same, as you said about the richest man in Babylon.
Yeah.
And I have one question, bro.
Mm.
So this book we talked about, basically it also talks about financial freedom.
Mm.
So is financial freedom more about income or is it more about behavior?
So financial freedom is when you're able to go through all this stuff, right? You have your money and then you have your monies. So in the book, it's quoted as, your money makes children and their children's children and their children's make children. Right? So money grows itself. Right. Now think about it. First thing you've learned is 10% you put into your investment every time you make money. Right? Every time you make money, you're putting in 10%.
Yeah.
Over time, that money is growing. That money is multiplying. And that all the dividends, all the interest, all that stuff is adding up, and that chunk is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger, like buffets.
Mhm.
And that is making more money, and that makes you more money. So when the money starts making more money for you, and you have enough. That is when you become financially independent,
Yeah.
right? But your financial independence should not come from that 10%. And that's also what the book says, is that money is not for you, but it's for your next generation. That is just to set the habit to always be humble and to always learn to live below your means. That 10% you never touch. You just look at it and be happy. Okay, make sure it's invested correctly.
Mhm.
All right.
All right. So I think
20%. So if you have debt, you use it 20% of your money. The remaining 20% you use it for debt. Right. And in the future, you don't want any more debt.
Yeah.
20% is for paying off debt. And then 70% is for operations.
Okay. So
And that's in the initial beginning. Then when you become better, right? When you become better, you become good at handling your money. You become good at saving. Then what you do is you don't touch that 10%, right? That remaining 20%, that becomes your investment. So if you're paying debt now, right, you're putting it in investment account.
okay. So let me
Using the 70% for operations.
ask you one question. Like we are coming towards the end, and let me ask you one question. So there's this guy, right? Let's name him A. He invests monthly, and his friend, let's name him B. He waits for the perfect time. So the question arises. It's a very psychological thing. Why do humans delay important decisions?
It's just human nature. That's why you have to build a habit, right? Without even thinking about it, you put that 10% away. So if you're working, there's you can do direct deposits, right? Have 3 different bank accounts. One for investment, you don't touch that money. 10% you take out of your income every time, how much ever you make, and then put it into this investment. That is, future investment account, right? It's for your children's children. It's not for you. It's almost like you have a trust fund and you're just kind of putting that money in there. Okay. Now the remaining 20% of your income you put in another account. You use that mainly just to pay off debt. You pay off your credit cards, whatever you have, you pay it off. And then once you've paid off credit cards, then you don't you live below your means, man. You don't try to get more credit and buy things that you don't need. Right? What happens with credit cards? You buy stuff that you cannot afford. Yeah, you're taking out your future money and then buying stuff today. What we're teaching you is you save today, so in the future you have money. It's completely opposite.
Yeah.
Right? So once you finish paying off your debt, that 20% that you've been collecting in this account number 2, you use that for investments. Again, because by now you should have learned how to invest, right? And not touch this 20% either. So now this 20% is going to grow for you, right? And the 70% you're still using that for operations. And over time you'll learn to, make do more with less. So that 70% will be more than enough. You can even save out of that 70%.
Obviously.
So the whole idea is to build a habit, consistency on how to save, right? And not just save, as in you just don't, put money, but then also learn how to invest. So one thing about, we talked about Nepal earlier, right? One thing is they invest in gold,
Oh yeah.
right? Every year they buy gold and they keep it. The value of gold, right, can beat inflation too.
Yeah.
So that is investing, right? And then saving. So I don't know about how much they save daily, but then at least that is somewhat ingrained into the culture, and I think that is what is most probably saving people on the long run.
Okay.
Lakshmi Puja, that's what they call it, and basically what it is saving. Right? It is buying and saving it for the longer run, and you don't touch that money, right? You pass it on to the next generation,
Yeah.
and that's what makes you rich. That is what brings wealth. Right? You need to